These actually look pretty good in spots. There's a lot of red tomatoes in here. My goodness. They don't have a lot of size, but they are pretty. Don't like to see that. This is inside the grape greenhouse. Look at all those grapes. My word. But they're all covered in thrips and spider mites. They're nasty. They're unharvestable. There are some really nice tomatoes in here. I am so glad I didn't kill these. We still have these 2 rows getting watered every half hour, every day, 7 days a week. But off to your right there, you know, I killed those 4 rows of grape tomatoes, you know, back at the early July, I think. So I'm gonna get about 6 boxes out of here because they're nice and red, and I'm gonna put them on the trailer. There's some nice ones hiding in here. They're not extremely large, but they are extremely red and pretty. You know, since these are protected in this greenhouse, you get healthier looking fruit. Gobs and gobs of nice red tomatoes. Well, considering how I have not taken care of these plants whatsoever in over 2 months, it's hard to believe that there's this many nice looking tomatoes in here. All right, just finished packing up the trailer. She's got about 20 boxes of tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, red peppers, green beans, potatoes, and we finally have our homegrown candy onions on here. A lot of customers have been asking for those. Still have some nice sized cantaloupes. Unfortunately, we are out of big watermelons, so I'm purchasing Southern Indiana watermelon still. Our final 3 crates of Pennsylvania peaches. And believe it or not, Friday I'm getting a delivery of Idaho peaches. This will be a first. So we're getting real near the end on peaches. We'll see how they look and taste, but this could be the final weekend for peaches. And I backed her off on sweet corn just a little bit. She's gonna have 4 to start with and another 6 underneath, and some extra peppers, zucchini, and green beans. And if it's slow, I threw on 4 cases of unlabeled sweet pepper relish for her to put labels on today. There she goes, heading off to Marysville to our satellite location, and we're getting near the end of the season. We only go to that location through September. We don't even go on Mondays anymore, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're only going Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Those tend to be the better days. Plus, we're just limited on the amount of supply that we have for farmers markets and for that trailer. So Wednesday, Friday, Saturday works out well. In about 2 weeks, we'll probably just be going on Saturdays alone. Just the final 2 Saturdays of November, and then that season will be over. If you're wondering why I don't continue on going into October, it's just because zucchini, cucumbers, green beans, sweet corn, you know, peaches, all that good, and melons, all those popular items are pretty much done. And if they aren't done, they're in very limited supply, and I want to keep some for our Saturday trucks that go to Columbus for farmers markets. I like to keep at least 2 of those going through late September and into October. So in years past, we have tried it going into October, and there's just not a lot of things I can load on that trailer. You know, I can put about 5, 6, 7 different varieties of apples, spaghetti, and butternut squash. I've taken pumpkins, I've put mums on there. I think I've even taken some apple cider. But even tomatoes are pretty much done by then. So yeah, we have discovered that going into October, it just isn't worth our while. So yeah, only 3 more weeks and we'll be wrapping up our season at our satellite location. So for the rest of the day, I am solo. My son Blake is filming and editing for his YouTube channel. My nephew Jake is in the process of building a house, and I need them tomorrow to pick sweet corn. So they're not available to work every day. So I'd prefer to have them tomorrow for sweet corn, because that's going to be about a 400 dozen pick, and there's no way I can do that by myself. My other son, Gavin, is going to be in college tomorrow. You know, just about every other day of the week. About 3 or 4 days a week he's gone. So unfortunately I won't have him to help tomorrow. And my other brother, Joel, he's probably not going to be available to help either. Maybe I can talk him into coming down for an hour and helping. But today I'm solo. I'm heading out to the field to line up cantaloupes. We're almost finished with cantaloupe season. I think there's about 2 more bins out there, and then maybe a bin on Friday, and they will be done. So I'm gonna go row those up by myself so they're ready to pick up tomorrow morning. Actually, I might try to get those picked up yet tonight so I can get them in the cooler. I hate to let them sit out in the heat all day, you know? It's gonna make them ripen too fast and not hold until next week, which is when I'm gonna need those, possibly this weekend. And then after cantaloupes, we're gonna pick something new. I'm adding something new to the harvest list today. Can't wait to show you guys what it is. It's been a while since I showed any of my irrigation setup. So my well is right up there. We dug a new one about 12 years ago, I'm guessing, and we hit water at 50 feet, and it was a good vein. It was putting out over 100 gallons a minute. So we put a 2.5 horse pump in it, which can give me 33 gallons a minute. In hindsight, I probably would have put a bigger one in, because I can't water my whole field at once with 33 gallons a minute. I can get about 14 to 16 rows out here at a time. So I'm constantly coming out here and changing those. So if I need to, you know, on a hot summer day when I got 40 rows and need water, for example, I'll do 2 5 to 6 hour waterings of 16 rows, and then the next day do the next 2 blocks of 16 rows, and then come back and do it all over again, you know. So I'm constantly out here changing things over to new rows to be watered. I wish I could just turn it all on at once by turning the main valve on and run it for 5 or 6 hours daily and have everything watered. So the water travels from the well out to the field with the 2.5 inch or 3 inch, I can't remember, lay flat, blue lay flat. Then I have a T here because I used to water out this direction because I had plastic out here as well. And then it goes through a regulator, a 10 to 32 gallon. Oh, what is that? I forget how many PSI that is. 10 PSI. And then it goes into the 1.5 inch oval tube over here to another T. And the reason we have that pressure regulator over there is because we don't want too much pressure on the drip tape. So right now, I'm gonna turn this valve on, and now it's gonna water my 6 rows of peppers right here. In this direction, it travels this way, so I can water that half of the field. I'm watering broccoli and cauliflower up there. 8 rows. That's the only thing that's being watered right now on that side. And on this side, the only thing being watered are these 6 rows of peppers and 1 row of eggplant. I'm not turning the water on any longer on the tomatoes because they're almost done, and I'm afraid if I turn it on now with the decline in health of the plant, that it's going to pump all that water right into the fruit and there's going to be splits everywhere. So I'm done watering everything on this side. There's winter squash over there along the woods by the sweet corn. Everything else has been killed and mowed down. We just have the peppers and eggplant continuing on right now. So they are still soaking up a lot of water, so I got to irrigate them almost every day. The first order of business out here in the field is to get all these cantaloupes rowed up on the outside rows. I'm all by myself today, like I already mentioned. So I'm gonna try to get it all done in a down and back. And then hopefully sometime after lunch or late morning when my son gets home from college, I can get him, and hopefully I can get both my sons to come out here with me and help me load these up so I can get them in the cooler. Still got a few nice big ones out here. It's a beast. You can kind of see they don't get a great color late in the season. You can start to see some of the good color here. Then there's kind of a shade of green and almost a shade of gray. But it's good and ripe. See how the stem slipped right off? Pop! Now that wasn't so bad. Less than a half hour to go down and back, and I was even able to row them up all on one side. So I'm gonna drive my Polaris Ranger down the row and get a rough idea of how many's out here, so I know how many bins to bring down here when my sons are able to help me load those up. I'm guessing it'll almost fit in one bin. That's how much it has curtailed since just the last picking 2 days ago. Today's Wednesday. We picked them on Labor Day and we had like 400, but I knew they had peaked and we're going to go downhill quickly. It looks like there's a lot out there still, maybe to some of you, but there isn't. A lot of them are really small, they're smooth and overripe, and no netting on them. The netting is these wavy grains, whatever you want to call that, those lines. That's the netting. And sometimes late in the season you get no netting or very little, like smooth spots on the melons. Here's one right here, a prime example of no netting. You can see how it's really ripe, probably because we didn't pick it on Monday. They thought it was a bad melon, but I decided to go ahead and pick it because it smells amazing and it's still solid, but they just aren't as pretty late in the season. We got a nice little row of them right there. Still got a few of some decent size, but a lot of these out here that you see are overripe, rotten, or still green. We still will have one more pick on Friday or Monday. And then cantaloupe season will be over. All right, I'm gonna get a count on these, and then I'm taking you out to a new patch in this field to pick something new that you have not seen on our farm yet this year. So I was just driving down the path here, getting ready to count these melons over here that I rode up. And I was keeping my eye open on the old patch where we only got 5 on Monday, and I said that they were done. Even though I said they're done, there's always a handful that are hidden in the weeds that were big green ones that usually don't make it, but these did. Check these whoppers out. I just happened to see them out in the weeds while I was driving by. That is a beast. And even though they look kind of ugly, they smell so good. 93 cantaloupes. They would probably fit in one bin, but we're gonna put it in 2. Spaghetti and butternut squash. I grow 4 rows of it. And it's pretty loaded. Goes all the way to the road there at the end of the sweet corn patch. Fortunately, a majority of these have already been cut when I still had the bulk of my crew here. But unfortunately, we did not get them loaded up and washed. This is the first year that I ever got behind on getting that done, because it's nice to have many hands out here to pick all these up. I mean, there are probably thousands out here, and it's too big of a job for 1 or 2 people. So what we might have to do is just once a week, twice a week, 3 or 4 of us come out here and just knock a little bit of it out at a time, so we can get them out of the field and washed, binned up, and put into the tomato cooler where they will store until we finish markets in mid-October. So right here is a butternut squash that didn't get cut, probably because it was still green 2 weeks ago when all the kids cut these. We like to cut them about 1/4 inch, no more than a 1/2 inch long, because then you have this sharp woody-like stem that can poke other squash around it in the bin when we're loading them. So take my cutter, just like that. Even shorter is better yet. Here's one that the guys cut 2 weeks ago. You can see how nice and short that is. That way it can't damage the other squash that it's hitting when it's being stacked and packed in a bin. Spaghetti squash the same way. Try to cut them no longer than that. And see how sharp that is? I would prefer to have it cut straight across. But man, those are hard, very sharp, and can easily damage the other squash during washing and packing. Part of the reason that we did not get these all picked up and washed and stored before I lost my crew is that we were just so busy harvesting other crops. Because my crew was a little bit smaller and less trained than previous years, I just felt like we were always playing catch up. But now I'm completely caught up, and now I don't have a crew. So today I'm just gonna pick a couple tubs for one of our farmers markets and maybe start piling up a couple piles on the outside rows so they're ready to load up when I have a couple people helping me tomorrow and Friday. That way we can get 3, 4, 5 tubs on every box truck for the farmers markets this Saturday. I'm just walking down through here, looking at the size and the quality, and they're pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. One other thing that I didn't mention is that we hate picking these in August, mid-August, because they're so thick and bushy with vines and leaves, they just scratch you all up. It's so hot out, so if you try to come out here with shorts, you get all scratched up. So fortunately, it's a little cooler out today and I can wear jeans, but I probably could wear shorts today because the vines are pretty much all dying off, which is normal. That's what you want. That's what happens in pumpkins and other cucurbit crops like fall squash and other decorative items that you grow during pumpkin season in the fall. Well, you're growing them all year long, all spring and summer, but you harvest them in the fall. And you kind of want these vines to decline, die off, and spread open so it's easier to see what you're picking and you don't get all cut up. Since it looks like a majority of these are cut, I'm gonna go ahead and start rowing up piles and get a couple of them taken up to the barn and washed if they need it, and put on the box truck for my son going to Columbus to the Upper Arlington Farmers Market this afternoon. If you're wondering how much we sell these for, we price them at $2 a piece, and we'll probably bin up about 8 bins, I'm guessing. 8 to 10 melon bins. And we blow through them pretty quick, but we need to get these in the barn, washed, and on the trucks this weekend so we can get a good jump on selling them, because we're down to our final, 4 or 5 good weeks of sales. If we have a couple bins left over in late September, early October, and we need to move them, we'll put a buy one, get one free sale sign on the squash, or just basically $1 each. But people like to see the word free, so buy one, get one free. Definitely doesn't take long to get a tub of spaghetti squash. Or butternut. Now that I have my 2 tubs ready for the farmer's market this afternoon, I'm gonna start making piles at this end so we can have some extra to pick up tomorrow. Whew, it's getting warm out. It's probably only 80, but it's so calm and stagnant out here. No breeze. And when you're bending over hundreds of times moving spaghetti squash and butternut squash, you start to work up a sweat. So this is what a harvested section looks like. I would say I got about 75 feet done. It's definitely heavier on the spaghetti squash. The butternut squash was not real good right here. Hopefully it gets better down this way, but we still have about 300 feet to go. But that's not too bad considering one person just did about a fifth of it in a half hour. So if I can get 3 or 4 people out here to help me for about 2 hours, I think we'll have it done. But that's just the rowing up part. Then we got to load them up into a melon bins and then put them through the washer, put them back in the melon bins, and then they're ready for sale. So right now it's lunchtime. I'm gonna head up, take a break, put some shorts on and a dry t-shirt, eat some lunch, and then I'll be back out to pick a few other items for the Upper Arlington Farmers Market truck heading out here in about 2.5 hours. All right, I just finished up my lunch and I'm back out here in the pepper patch, just getting 1 crate for this farmers market. I'm out here picking these big, beautiful red peppers, just like I showed in the last video. These things are incredible. They're just a little harder to snap off in the afternoon because the plants are kind of warm. They're not cold and crispy like they are in the morning. Not too many green ones left out here. Some of those rows over there still have some. But I want red ones. Holy moly, that's a giant one. Wow, oh, it's got a little blemish on it. I think we'll keep it. Just got back up here to the barn with a tub of red and green bell peppers, and I picked a quick 8 boxes of tomatoes because we were completely out. I have some scratch and dent, like second hand, that are starting to go bad. They weren't good enough to put on the truck, so it's getting tough to find tomatoes. We're gonna struggle finding enough Thursday and Friday for Saturday's farmers markets. But I got 8 for this truck, in addition to the the spaghetti and the butternut. And now we just gotta load corn, green beans, cantaloupe, and watermelon. If you're wondering why I'm only putting 9 tubs of sweet corn on here, it's for 2 reasons. One, this is a very small market. I don't think they've ever sold more than 12 or 14 tubs. And secondly, I don't have any more corn. This is all I have left until I pick tomorrow. I gave 10 tubs to the mobile trailer, the satellite trailer today, and then the other 9 here. So we are getting down to slim pickings on the corn, at least for this week. Normally, I just put an entire bin or a half bin in the back of the truck, and then whoever's at the farmer's market would put them in one of these tubs, prop it up off the ground, and that is where we would sell it. But since my son is going to this market by himself, I'm gonna go ahead and load the tubs for him and not put the bin in there. That'll make it more convenient for him since he'll be rushed a little bit. He can just grab it and go and put it on display. So we're gonna try to find, I don't know, 30 or 40 good cantaloupes to send to the market. Some of these are starting to get just a little on the soft side. Actually, they're not bad at all. We'll put 12 in each tub. I think we'll give them 3 tubs, so 36 melons. All right, finished packing. And this is the final weekday market of 2024. The Upper Arlington Market in Columbus. It's pretty close to OSU campus. So here's a quick overview of everything going to the Upper Arlington Farmers Market. Only 8 boxes of tomatoes, 1 box of onions, spaghetti squash, butternut squash, bell peppers, cantaloupe, seedless watermelon. I know it's a little dark back here. By the way, I have a nice LED light on order. It should be here hopefully for Saturday morning, so you guys can finally see inside my box trucks properly. 1 tub of green beans, 9 tubs of corn, some habanero, jalapeno, zucchini, can't even see it, and salsa. Some hot and sweet pepper relish, money box, scales, credit card machine, tits, tables, tote full of goodies to run a farmer's market, and an entire assortment of bags and quart containers for displaying tomatoes and beans. I think that's everything. There goes my son Gavin off to Columbus for the final weekday market of 2024. That's a pretty good feeling knowing that I am finished packing for weekday markets for the rest of this season. Now I still have Wednesday and Friday trailers to pack for about 3 more weeks and probably 5 to 6 more weeks of Saturday farmers markets, and then the sales season for 2024 will be over. It's coming quickly. This is where we're going to wrap this one up today, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see y'all again real soon down on the farm.